All right, so here we are, topic 10. This is all you, whatever you need, I will do. Tim, guys.
Number 18.
Number 18. Yes, Tim.
I didn't get it at all.
All right, Timothy. There is 5 different ways to do this problem. That's where the problem lies. You can do Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You can do trigonometry. You can do special right triangle tricks. You can do triangles inside of right triangles or similar right triangles. Tim's mind explodes. I think the easiest way to do this problem is to look at one baby triangle. That is, by definition, a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. Can you see that? So, if this leg is 1, how big is this leg? Now, if this is 1, how do you get out here? Okay, now, if I solve for the black triangle on top, if this leg is 1, how big is this leg? And now, if those are both 1, and even then, if I add these two numbers together, I get 2. And 2 divided by the square root of 2 is the square root of 2. Make this look easy.
I just didn't get it. I stared at this one for like 5 minutes.
Make her brush your shoulders off. Now, if you didn't like that, you could have gone back to right triangles inside of right triangles. This is x, because they're the same length. And you have x over 1 equals 1 over x. Remember that test? That was a lot of fun for me. 1 times 1 is 1. X times x is
X squared.
the square root of 1.
1.
Love
Number
that job.
26.
Number 26. It's a Tim show today.
Tim's just gonna ask.
Why don't you just ask all the questions?
Ooh, okay. An architect. This guy's smart. Includes a wheelchair ramp in her I'm sorry, her. She is smart. Her plans for the entrance to a new museum. She wants the angle that the ramp makes with the level ground to be 4 degrees. Will the dimensions in her figure work? If not, what should she change?
I got that it wouldn't work, and I didn't know how to figure out how it would change.
Okay, so if you got no, how did you get no?
I did tangent of 4 degrees equals 8 over 100.
What?
That's what I did.
You did tangent of 4 degrees equals 8 over 100. She wants the angle to be 4 degrees, right?
Yeah.
So she built a ramp that's 100 by 8, and you're just trying to verify what is the angle x. What is it?
4.
It's not 4.
I thought she said she wanted it.
She wants it to be 4, so she built this and it's like, I'm hoping the angle's 4. So if you do the tangent of x, 8 over 100. So in this scenario, you're trying to figure out what is the angle is created, right?
Oh, tangent of negative 1 equals 8 over 100. Is a tan or like arcs?
In your phone, yes.
Okay.
So inverse tangent of 8 divided by 100. Wow, it's 4.5 degrees. So that's too much, right? Homie can't roll the ramp up. That's 4.5 degrees. So we need to change it. We need to change something to make it 4 degrees. So if you're going to change it, then now you're the engineer. 100 feet of ramp. You want it to be 4 degrees. What does that value have to be? 7. Comes out as 7. So now you're doing the tangent of 4 equals opposite over, you get 100 tan 4, 7, round the nose.
Okay, so what I did was like, I put the whole problem together and like I put in the calculator tangent of 4 and it got like 0.07 and and then I knew that 8 over 100 is 0.08, so that could work too, right?
Yeah, so that would say no, like no,
Yeah.
it's not correct, but then you have to figure out how to change it to make it. So this is the how you change it to make it what you want.
I didn't know which
Okay.
one to use as the variable. I just kind of said, to be honest, I was tired and it was like 11 o'clock, so I said, no, how about you don't have a 100-foot ramp because I don't think it's necessary.
Good. It's a lot of ramp. So you could have shortened the ramp a little bit. You actually would have lengthened the ramp out. It would have been like 110 feet of ramp and an 8 rise to make it work. So wait till 6th period tomorrow after all day, and then you're like, oh, 6th period, welcome to this test. It's called mental
Illness.
endurance. MATH, mental abuse to humans. Oh, it also spells math.
I
What
saw
else
that.
do you want?
I
You're
saw-
wasting time.
30.
Number 30?
Yeah.
I call the next one.
Alright, so number 30. I'm going to scroll up a little bit so I have some room to draw. A surveyor is 300 feet from the base of his apartment. Now, you may not have time to draw all these fancy pictures tomorrow.
Really?
300 feet from the base of his apartment building. The angle of elevation to the top of the building is 24 degrees, and the surveyor angle measurement device is 5 feet above the ground. So you have his measurement device, his little telescope here, that is 5 feet above the ground. And the angle of elevation from here to here is 24 degrees. It wants to know how tall the building is. So right now you can solve for how tall it is from here to here. And then what is this distance from here to here? 5 feet. So you're looking for x. And then you would add 5 to that at the end. So what trigonometric function would help you solve for x? Tangent. The tangent of 24 degrees is equal to opposite over 300. So 300 tangent 24 will give you your height from the eyeball to the top of the ceiling. I think it's like 113, maybe 133. 133. So this distance from here to here is 133. And then you have to go 5 more feet to get to the ground because that's where the device is. So 138 feet.
Okay, my turn.
Alana, you're next.
Okay, number 32.
Number 32. Okay, allow me to consult the diagram drawn. Did you see that? Two office buildings are 100 feet apart. From the edge of the shorter building, the angle of elevation to the top of the taller building is 28 degrees. Right here. The angle of depression to the bottom building is 42 degrees, right here. Find the height of each building. So I just moved 100 right here. Still accurate? So how big is x? Or what would you do to solve for x?
Tangent.
You would do tangent again. Because I have tangent, but opposite over adjacent. So the tangent of 42 is equal to x over 100. Or 100 tangent 42. What'd you get?
90. I didn't get the answer yet, actually.
90?
90.
So that means that from here to here is 90. So how tall is the short building? 90 feet. Now you gotta flip it and do it for the tall building. So you can only really solve the tall building from here to here, which is okay. Because then you just add 90 to it when you get your answer. So now the tangent of 28 is equal to x over 100. It's still tangent. The tangent of 28 is equal to x over 100, or 100 tangent 28. You get 53, right?
It's 142.
So the tall building is 143 feet tall. Small building is 90. Now don't worry, for your test, it's going to ask you, what is the angle of elevation?
So we don't have to do anything like that.
What's the angle of elevation?
Which one?
28 degrees.
Oh.
What's the angle of depression?
42.
42 degrees.
You don't have to do like a word problem?
There are word problems,
Well, I mean like this.
not like this.
Okay.
You want to see the word problem for the test?
I mean, it's,
Well, I can create some random problem that might be like the one on your test. Another tree question because you guys are so amazing at these.
I love trees. Yeah.
It says the tree is 14 feet tall. Where does that go? I don't want to like. Okay, I don't want to like overestimate your intelligence.
Overestimate?
Okay, the length of the shadow is 10 feet long. What is the angle of elevation?
you have to figure out the measurement.
You have to figure out x. That is your angle of elevation question. Yes, you can.
14 over 10.
The tangent of x is equals to 14 over 10. The inverse tangent of 14 over 10. That's it. That's your angle of elevation question that involves mathematics. Pretty close. It's not feet. It's yards.
Can I say my other word question? Or is that the only one?
There's another one.
Is it hard?
Sure, I'll try it. I'll just speak it. I don't want to write it. Let me give you the test question.
Oh no, you should have said.
You have a right triangle that has side lengths of 3 and 5. Do the 3 lengths of the triangle create a Pythagorean triple?
Wait, hold on, say that again.
You have a triangle with the hypotenuse is 6, one side length is 5. Do the side lengths of the triangle create a Pythagorean triple? Okay, so if I draw it, it makes more sense. You have a right triangle. The hypotenuse is 6. One leg is 5. Does the other side length create a Pythagorean triple? So Pythagorean triples are whole numbers. Whole numbers. That's whole number. Is x a whole number? It's a yes or no question.
Okay, no.
You have to do math. Anybody do it already? 6 squared minus
5 squared. Square root of that.
square root of 11. 3.3.
Obviously.
Now, do I care about the number 3.3?
Yes.
Yeah, the answer is no. Not a Pythagorean triple.
Okay.
The answer is no.
Okay.
But the numbers are different on the test.
What would be the
come
other
on.
way to solve for it?
Huh?
Man.
What would be the other equation at the end?
Well, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So you can do the square root of a squared plus b squared. Solving for hypotenuse, add legs, take square root. The square root, right? Solving for a leg, it's c squared minus b squared. The square root is c squared minus b squared.
Okay.
Who else? Yes, sir.
33.
Number, and you guys are all over these elevation questions.
I know, they're hard.
We've already gone over every elevation question you're going to see on the test.
Oh yeah.
But you still want your review completely done, right? Okay. A pilot of a plane is flying at 10,000 feet. Plane, 10,000 feet. You're laughing, but you probably got it wrong. Hot air balloon.
I didn't do it. So I've never even tried. Light bulb.
Hot air balloon.
Hot air balloon.
That's actually good.
Thank you. 9,000 feet. Have I confused anybody yet?
I
Okay.
drew it wrong.
The angle of depression from the plane to the balloon is 30 degrees. So we have a horizon line at the plane. The angle of depression from the plane to the balloon is 30 degrees.
Which means the other one is 7.
7.
The other one is
That's fine.
Okay.
Oh.
We're trying to figure out what is the distance. What is this diagonal distance from the plane to the balloon? You can draw another horizon line. I like to do that right here because it creates a right triangle. And because the angle of depression is 30 degrees, the angle inside this triangle is 60, which means this one's 30. So 30, 1, hypot, 2 nous, the square root of 3. You can use trig here if you want to. How do you get from 1 to 2? Times 2. No.
2,000.
What is the difference in elevation from the hot air balloon to the airplane? This is 1,000 feet.
Yeah,
That's the
That one
difference.
is 2,000.
So 1,000 times 2 is
yeah, the answer's 2,000. Is that not
Twitch TV's Mondays. Wait, you
so. The big key here is that 9,000 feet travels to the bottom of the balloon. So I have to take this number and subtract 9,000 feet from it. I get 1,000 feet right here. Because this angle of depression is 30 degrees, the angle inside the triangle is 60. Now you can use special right triangle tricks because they are quicker, but you could also just use like the cosine of 60 equals 1,000 over x. You could do it that way. You could do the sine of 30 equals 1,000 over x. You could do special right triangle tricks. The quickest way is to get from here to here is to multiply by 2 because it is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle.
So if it's a 36, you should multiply by 2.
To go from the short leg to the hypotenuse. Yes, yeah.
And for the 45.
45, 90 has a relationship of times the square root of 2 or divided by the square root of 2.
So it's
The square root of 2. Times 1.41 or divided by 1.41.
wait, so that would be the square root of 2.
That's just how you get from one side to the other. Multiplying by the square root of 2 or dividing by the square root of 2. Anything else? What else do you need?
So the hypotenuse is the distance.
The hypotenuse is the distance from the balloon to the airplane, 2,000 feet. Lightweight. What else? Or do you just want to check some answers right now? What do you got? What do you want to look at?
Could number 20.
So this one is not 30, 60, 90. It's not 45, 45, 90. You're missing 2 pieces, so you should key into I have to use trigonometry.
Tangent of 48 equals x over 5.
Now, has anybody thought about this? Can I nerd out for just a second? If this is 48, how big is this one? Right, there is 180 degrees in that triangle, correct? Yes or no? So watch this.
Well, that's complicated.
It's not, I think that's easier because you're using the law of sines. Sine of 42 over 5 equals the sine of 48 over x. Cross multiply and solve. This is substantially faster, I think. But if you like law of sines and it makes more sense to you, it will work. Me too.
You do.
What else?
Number 7.
Number 12. I'll go 12 and then 7. Oh yeah. Anybody struggle with this part? So this goes back to just rote memorization. Three different scenarios. C squared is bigger, C squared smaller, or C squared is equal.
Right.
Alright, this is the easy one. Right triangle.
See, this middle one's a cube.
If C is bigger than these two, obtuse. If C is smaller than these two, acute. So number 12 is kind of weird because you have to do the square root of 3 squared plus the square root of 3 squared and then compare it to the square root of 6 squared.
Isn't the same thing.
Well, I'll just square them. The square root of 3 squared is 3. The square root of 3 squared is 3. The square root of 6 squared is 6. It's a right triangle.
Can you do 23?
Hold on. I got 7, then I'll get to 23. So y'all kind of get that one or no? You can kind of do some of these in your head. 9 plus 25 is 36. So this equals 36. 7 times 7 is 49. C is bigger. Obtuse triangle. Yeah, so the only thing you have to keep track of is make sure you know which one's the biggest number. That's the always one you have to compare it to. You want to see another one, or you think you got it? I like to use my calculator in this scenario. The square root of 5 squared plus 4 squared. Is that right?
Yes.
Number, 5 squared. Number, well, C squared's bigger, so that's an obtuse triangle. We had, oh, hey. Shout out to my YouTube channel. Don't worry, I'm sending an email to your parents tonight.
Gotta get subscribed.
7.
To YouTube now.
I tried to say it like 6 times. It's been successful. Guys, look right here. Does that make it easier? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why are you struggling with it to begin with? You trying to simplify some nasty radical? Yeah. Okay. Rectangular. Find the diagonal. It says it's 90 feet wide and it's 165 feet long. That's just a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or the square root of a squared plus b squared. I think it comes out to like 187 point something feet, so it's 188 feet. Okay. Now the only one that I think might have tripped you guys up is number 5. Was anybody completely confident in their answer here?
2 squared, 2 squared.
I think so. That's
So-
what I got.
2 squared is 5.
Now, people are still struggling with this. It's 10 squared equals 4 squared plus x squared, or 100 equals 16 plus x. And it says no decimals, so you have to take the square root of both sides. And then you have to simplify the square root of 84. So in my calculator, I was like, I know 4 goes in there evenly. 4 and 21. What is the square root of 4?
2.
You cannot take the square root of 21. So that's your simplified answer, 2 square roots of 21. No decimals. Continue, you said 23?
23. Never mind, the calculator that I was using is, I'm not sure what's going on.
So you're saying user error.
Did you use photo mode?
Oh no, I'm just dumb, I'm just
Reading.
Got it on camera.
Tim, something first.
Suspicion confirmed. Alright, so don't forget that you're going to have a unit circle on your test that you have to fill out and figure out what is the cosine of 5 pi over 6 radians. And I'm asking you guys to know that the cosine of 5 pi over 6 radians is the negative square root of 3 over 2.
Wait, say that
Silence.
again?
Wait.
Well, I'm just picking out numbers out of my head and doing it in my head. Okay, look, real talk. Listen, the first time I taught you the unit circle was the second time I've ever done it. I did it once in 3rd period, and the second time I did it was with you guys in 6th period. I'm literally 1 day ahead of you. It is possible to learn this stuff in 1 day. You only have to know the first quadrant. You have to know the first quadrant. Everything else is a reflection of the first quadrant. So if you get on the YouTube today, I will go through the entire unit circle, how to create it. We start at 0 and we label all the radians as well. It's all on there. I'm not just plugging for views. We have 7 minutes. We can start. We can look at what do you want to know. Do you have trouble with the coordinate measures, or do you have trouble with labeling pi radians? What do you need? Or you think you're good? Question number 23 says, fill out the missing radians.
Let's go for that.
Question number 24 says, it's 5 different pieces. Find the sine of 2 pi over 3, find the cosine of 11 pi over 6, find the tangent of 7 pi over 6. You gotta know what all those things are. So, I'll never be able to do this as good as I did it in 3rd period. You're gonna have a unit circle. Not terrible. Realize that it's broken into 3 pieces. Alright? The important things to know is that this is over 1 up 0. And this is over 0 up 1. So everything is a fraction. Every fraction has a denominator of 2. And you count the right value. 0, 1, 2, 3. Left values. 0, 1, 2, 3. Everything gets a square root except the 1. Then on this side, it's the same thing. All the y values will not change. They're reflections across the y-axis. The y values will not change. The x values are the same exact value, just negative. Then you just take all those numbers and reflect them down. The x values will not change, but all the y values will become negative. Oops. Then you have to label radians. Can we go over that real quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to start with just, I know this is 0, and I know this is pi. What's half of pi?
One.
So we got 0, 1 half, 2 halves, 0, 1 over 2, 2 over 2, 3 over 2, 4 over 2, or 2 pi's. Okay, I like to do 1 half, 2 halves, 3 halves. Then I like to go, what is half of a half? 1 quarter. 1 quarter, 2 quarters, checkpoint. 4 quarters, checkpoint. 6 quarters, checkpoint. The last one is to count by 6. 1/6. Don't skip the axis. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, checkpoint. 4/6, 5/6, 6/6, checkpoint. 7/6, 8/6, 9/6, checkpoint. 10/6, 11/6, 12/6, checkpoint. So you can go back and clean up pi. Instead of 2/6, it's 1/3. Instead of 4/6, it's 2/3. 5, pi/6. 7, pi/6. Instead of 4/6, or instead of 8/6, 4/3. Instead of 5/6, 10/6, it's 5/3. So it's quick, right? It took me 2 minutes to go all the way around. You can always convert it to degrees in your calculator and then convert it back to radians, because you guys are better at degree measures. 5 questions there. If your review is completely completed, you can get the square root curve. It turns a 49 into a 70. Now I gave you a review 3 days ago. So your parents watch this, they know you've had it for 3 days. That's 11 questions a day, and I've done this and whatever we did in 3rd period extra beyond that. There's no reason it can't be done. You have 49 minutes tomorrow. Mental endurance. Come in, knock it out. And then I will have them graded before you leave for spring break. That way you have this nice, awesome feeling of this amazing grade going into the grade book before your 10 days with your parents.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Anything for you guys?
Okay.
So if we can go to section
Yeah, the photomath calculators.
we just yell you over tech.
So if you're doing this one, which is up with 10 and a 30 segment, x over 12.
You said I'm not.
Ten. But then
Shut up.
12 tangents
Like my opinion
of 37.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. Give me a different answer about a sign.
Okay. See, they're also giving you a negative. That's what happened in my first
You don't have lost
You don't have to figure
Right.
What?
it. Vote calculator works,
What? I don't know. I